If you've ever tried to lose weight, gain weight, play the guitar, whatever other lifestyle goals that you might have wanted to achieve, but you've struggled to achieve those because you've fallen back into your old ways, this might be a solution to that. This is what's known as a recovery baseline. All that it pertains to is we swap out the things that drain us and we replace those things that recharge us on a day-to-day basis. This can take 2 weeks. Once we get here, we will know we are here because we will have 8 hours quality of sleep. Only then does it make common sense to install a lifestyle goal, whether it be lose weight, gain weight, or what have you. This works for any lifestyle goal. This is not sexy and it's all common sense. We remove fast food and we install protein meals. As we age, this becomes more relevant. And I suppose I'm talking to that demographic because one of the issues that I had, and I'm sure that a lot of people might know others that have this, is that we think that we can live like we're 20 years old, burning the candle at both ends and so on, and that cannot happen. We recover and repair a lot slower when we age. So this becomes even more relevant. Late night scrolling, we get rid of that. Excess caffeine, late night scrolling, that's something that can bugger up your nervous system, especially late night, because you're going into the sleep phase and it's going to disrupt your sleep, your nervous system. So we get rid of that. Same with the excess caffeine. I used to drink all the way through till 6, even a couple of beers and a spicy meal before bed after the caffeine intake. And then this whole chaotic living space, the place would be things that I would start and then I wouldn't finish, and then I would go into another thing and start those things. So these are just things I've been spitballing that off the top of my head had drained us in the past. What I've replaced those with, and what anyone can replace these with, and everyone's got their own list, is that obviously your protein meals per day. This again becomes more relevant as we age because as part of your recharging the system, you want protein meals. Fixed sleep. This doesn't just mean going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. This means this is all about what happens before we sleep and after we wake up. So before we sleep, we want to enter into the sleep phase in the right state. Coming off the internet right before we go to sleep isn't that, because your brain, it will be wired but tired. And fixed sleep is not just about the sleep phase itself, it's about what happens before sleep and what happens afterwards. On a weekend, a lot of the time now, to give you an example, is that I use a sleeping aid. This is because when it's quiet here at the weekends, there's parties going on across the road and so on and so forth, and that, so that they're really handy for that. When we get up in the morning, it is important, just as important, because we need to set the circadian rhythm. So that means going out and getting sunlight into the brain. You don't have to go out, you can just draw the blinds and just make sure that you get sunlight. And this is important. This is just the minutiae, the boring stuff. Obviously, no caffeine after 12. We do need stimulus, and where I get my stimulation from is, not just dance class, but I do go now and again. You can think of your own sort of pastimes that you can do to get your stimulus that recharges you. Getting the chores done at specific times in the day. I know it's a chore even talking about it. It solves open loops and it solves decision fatigue. If you've got all these things to do and you start one thing and then you go on to the next thing, and it's like when you're doing DIY around the house and you start something and then that needs to be right, and it's all that. So it's all about getting those all ironed out. Breath work and strength training. This is part of my own, obviously, for longevity. The pros and cons of this, real quick off the top of my head, I've just thought of it. Essentially what we're doing is we're getting rid of stimulation that doesn't serve us and stimulation that's cost us money. So I save and continue to save between £400 and £600 a month on alcohol related activities. I reallocate that money into my own personal well-being, okay? The things that recharge. What else do I do? I set up a strength training gym. These are the productivity drinks. I drink one a day, most days. They've got caffeine in, brain food, nootropics and so on. What trips a lot of people up though, when they want transformation, is when we drain out or get rid of the things that drain us, inevitably there's going to be people that go with that, you know, day one friends, friends that you've met at various different places. There has been day one friends that I hardly talk to, people that I used to knock around with West London, and they all used to knock around with who I was before. If there's anything that signifies that you've changed, is the people that you hardly talk to anymore. I know that sounds a bit dark and so on, but your priorities change as you get older. Your priorities change through the years, and so this is inevitable. And some people don't want to accept that. Some people would rather stay in that loop because they don't want to be ostracized from the group. And so that's another thing that a lot of people keeps a lot of people stuck, and what people have to consider. Bang, install this, and this is the person that you can be 2 weeks later. When your habits change, and just doing this simple swap out, you transform your beliefs into becoming someone new. You're more empowered now to go after that life goal, whether it means whatever that life goal is: lose weight, gain weight, strength, better health, learn an instrument, and so on and so forth, because you will have the energy to do so, and you will have the more confidence than you did do 2 weeks ago, having installed this. And that's it. No more bad stimulation. No, 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 no. Bye. Good stimulation. Yes, 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 yes. Come in. Right. One day at a time. Signing off.